All right, so today we are talking about the pros and cons of living in a little tiny slice of paradise here in Southwest Florida, known as Marco Island. Now, I know you're probably thinking beaches, sunshine, palm trees, fishing, boating, maybe dolphins. What could the cons possibly be, right? Well, you're going to have to stick around to find out.
So first off, for those who aren't familiar with Marco Island, let me give you a quick rundown on where it's located on a map. So first off, for those who aren't familiar with Marco Island, let me give you a quick rundown on where it's located on a map. Marco is in southwestern Collier County along the Gulf of Mexico, about 20 miles south of Naples. It's part of the 10,000 Islands. Yes, that is a real thing, as you can see here on the map. It is basically all of these islands all along here. So Marco is about an hour south of Fort Myers, which is up here. And it is about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on traffic, to Miami, Fort Lauderdale over here on the East Coast, this whole area over here, where you have two major international airports. Closest airport is Fort Myers, unless of course you happen to have your own private plane or are a pilot yourself. Then you have, if I zoom in here, it's actually up here a little bit, the Marco Island Executive Airport. You also have a little bit larger airport in Naples, but still an executive airport. And then the commercial airports, closest one, like I said, is Fort Myers. There is another small commercial one up here in Punta Gorda. These two, hour and 45 to 2 hours away, or 3 hours away in Tampa. Now, the population of Marco, well, it varies dramatically depending on the season and who you ask. But full-time, or at least what I would say majority of the time residents, it's between 15 and 17,000. But let's be real, during the winter, that number typically doubles or more with all the snowbirds. And Marco's reputation? It's got a bit of a prestigious vibe, being considered one of the best spots in Florida to retire to. If you can afford it, that is. So let's kick things off on a positive vibe and get into the pros of living in Marco Island. There's a reason people love it here. And spoiler alert, it's not just because of the weather. But yeah, that does definitely help. Number one, no state income tax. Florida is famous for this one. So if you're looking to keep more of that hard-earned money in your pocket, Marco Island is a great place to set up shop. Number two, it's close to the airports. So maybe you like to travel, or you have family that may be flying in to see you over the winter or over the summer. If you have your own plane, like I said before, Marco has its own executive airport. Or if you aren't quite there yet, the closest international airport is Fort Myers, or like we said, the Fort Lauderdale, Miami airports are roughly 2 hours away. So really no need for a long road trip. Number three, the low crime rates. It's not just the dolphins keeping Marco Island safe. The crime rate here is lower than in most other places in Florida, so you can rest easy knowing you're in a peaceful community. In fact, I've seen many reviews about Marco saying that there are too many police with nothing to do. Number four, gorgeous weather and beaches. This one's kind of obvious, but Marco Island's weather is really hard to beat. It's warm year-round, and the beaches, I mean, come on. 6 miles of crescent-shaped sugar white sand with some of the best shelling you'll find anywhere in the world. It's perfect. Number five, proximity to water and boating. So let's talk about the water for a second. Whether it's the beach, canals, or back bay boating, you are never far from the water here. Many of the homes even have their own docks right in the backyard with direct water access. How cool is that? And it's such a beautiful blue. This is something that many people don't really think about. They just assume that the water is pretty everywhere, but that really isn't always the case, but it definitely is here in Marco. Number six, wildlife galore. Birds, dolphins, manatee. Marco has some serious wildlife action going on, as long as it's water wildlife. It's like living in a National Geographic episode, kind of. Number seven, great schools. Despite being known as more of a retirement community, if you are a family with children looking to relocate full-time to Marco, the island does have its own elementary, middle, and high school all right on the island, and they're very highly reviewed. Now, for what you've all been waiting for, the cons, because not everything is perfect in paradise. So here they come. Number one, high housing costs. We want to talk about the money, right? The cost of housing, here it is. Let's just say up there. The median price is currently around $1 million, and it's not looking like it's going down anytime soon. So if you're looking to buy, just make sure you're prepared for that. And number two, while we're on the topic of money, the cost of living and expensive food. The cost of living is about 11% higher than the national average here in Marco, and that's on top of housing. And food costs here are no joke either. You'll be paying a bit more for that snapper or those oysters, though it will be some of the freshest you'll find anywhere. Number three, the high risk of hurricanes. It's Florida. Hurricanes are part of the deal. Marco Island is no stranger to storms. And when hurricane season hits, you better be prepared with your shutters, your insurance, and an evacuation plan, because as we have seen, especially recently, these storms are no joke. Number four, small population. Living on Marco Island can feel small. If you're used to a bustling city, this might be a bit of a culture shock. There's a limited number of stores, so be prepared. You're gonna run into your neighbors, and probably pretty often, such is the nature of island life. Hope you get good ones. Number five, the limited nightlife. So if you're looking for a hoppin' nightlife scene, Marco is probably not your jam. Sure, you've got some nice restaurants and bars, but let's just say the party doesn't go all night here. If you want a more active nightlife, you really have to head to Naples. Number six, limited job opportunities. Marco Island is stunning, but it is not exactly a career hub. Job opportunities are more limited here compared to the big cities, of course. Unless you're in the hospitality, healthcare, or service industries, then there's some opportunities. Retirees though, you're golden. But if you're still climbing the corporate ladder, you might need to be able to work remotely, or you're gonna have to commute. So you might be wondering, what is there to do on Marco? Well, aside from lounging on the beach, which is definitely a solid option, there's plenty to keep you busy. You've got the Marco Island Historical Museum, where you can really dive into that ancient Calusa civilization. Or if you're feeling adventurous, take a mangrove tunnels kayak tour, or hop on the Dolphin Explorer to meet some of the local sea life. Oh, and if you're into seashells, check out Tigertail Beach. Trust me, it's a shell collector heaven. There's also a country club on the island, so you can check that out as well. So is Marco Island the spot for you? If you think it might be, give us a call or send us a message to discuss starting your search for your new home. And if not, check out some of these other videos of some of the other nearby Southwest Florida cities that might be a better fit. If you're looking for warmer weather, I'm sure that one of these will be right for you.